I feel like I am on the precipice of some major burnout. Not there, but I can tell like one step too far and I'm done for. So I decided today, knowing that I'm like very close. I decided I'm just gonna not do the things that I have to do because, in truth, everything will be fine if I wait a day or even multiple days to do them. The essentials are getting done. I ship my orders. I'm really only shipping out like once a week, maybe twice, and that gets done. And the rest, all that stuff that I feel like I have to do, I decided that I would just sit down and draw. Let's just draw some birds, okay? And we're just gonna let ourselves take a little break. That's what we're gonna do today. I figured in light of my intro on being nearly burnt out, I would just talk a little bit about that. I would say that I am pretty in tune with myself, and because of that, I have learned to recognize the signs of like potential and impending burnout or like overwhelm. Like my personal key signs are extremely low motivation, which is something that I don't generally struggle with that much at all. I get very antsy and very unfocused. Like I can't concentrate on a task for long without feeling like basically repelled by it. It's most apparent to me that like burnouts, it's here. It's either here or like we're real close. When I've repeated this cycle like too many times, this like I should do this thing, I don't want to. Okay, but you haven't done it and it needs to get done. And then I say, okay, fine. And I attempt to do that thing. Then I fail to focus on it. I switch to like a different tab on my computer and say, okay, but maybe I have emails I should check. Or did I do that other thing? Okay, cool, nothing. Okay, what about this? And I was just ping-ponging between tasks. And it's honestly like my brain or my body is trying to like file through the list to tell me like, hey, have you considered doing something for yourself? Or like it's trying to cycle through all these to-dos on my list until I finally land on take a break. And then I'm like, okay, fine, and I'll take a break. And you'd think that would be where it ends, but then you sit there and you feel guilty after like 10 minutes and you start the cycle all over again. That's how I know. Because I could normally take a short break like that without feeling too guilty. And I still do. And that's like a whole thing in itself that I have to work on. My work-life balance is like probably pretty poor. And by probably, I mean it is pretty poor. But I know it's bad when I can't sit still for 10 minutes without feeling compelled to go back and do work that I am then going to not actually do. Usually what I have to do then is something that is very engrossing or engaging that my attention can't as easily be diverted back to, are you doing enough? Which for me is usually like reading something that I know that I'm going to read voraciously. Or playing video games that require my attention, like usually nothing too cozy or relaxed. Or if I'm not in too negative a mindset, drawing or making art. And that's kind of where we are now with this video. I was like, I need to draw. Like I haven't drawn in so long. I just need to do this. Yes, it's not technically for a thing, even though I ended up being like, no, just record it. Like, even if it's trash, that's not the point. I'm sure you've had a similar experience, and I know it's not easy. I think if you can learn to recognize like these signs before it's too late and let yourself just take a breath, take a break, do something for you, then it's all going to be okay. And I'm not saying it's a cure-all, because truthfully, the cure-all is to have work-life balance or to have a degree of balance. It's hard during this holiday season, especially with, oh my god, the Canada Post strike that is going on right now has made an absolute mess for like small businesses, particularly those more in rural and like basically if you're not in a big city, like you're kind of screwed. I am fortunate that I still have some options with my shipping, but it is a headache. It is like an insane headache for me. I have to basically ship like 2 separate times through the multiple platforms that I sell on. So that has been part of the, it is a major contributing factor to the way I quickly degrading in my mental health right now. However, as I said, I'm capable of recognizing this, and it just means that I know when to stop pushing myself. And I think people don't always know that line for themselves. But yeah, like usually when I do this, when I let myself take a break, and I know it now because I've experienced it enough times where I recognize like the sign, like I said, I recognize the signs, and then I have done this in the past where I'm like, just stop, just take a break, enjoy your life, it's okay. And I end up coming back to my work naturally and without feeling guilty or obligation to do so. It's just because I want to. Like I'm rested and I'm ready to work again. And it can be the same with stuff like art block. You know, the point is like it's often for a reason that you're experiencing burnout or art block or things like this. It's usually because your body is like screaming for you to decompress and step away from all of the noise. I realize some people maybe look for advice about what to do when they're experiencing burnout or art block or things of this nature. And the truth is I can tell you my own advice, but if you don't know yourself well enough, then it doesn't really matter what advice you hear because it's not applicable to everyone. Everyone needs different things and they react to things differently. Some people need to push themselves to relax. Other people need to push themselves to do something that is maybe a bit hard, but the act of doing it and getting it done is what gets them through a creative block. So it's not so simple. So all I'm saying is like take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But ultimately my point is just like you have to know yourself and really, if anything, take the time to think about it and say like, what do I actually need? Am I resisting my work for like because I'm not feeling passionate? Am I just tired? Am I being lazy? Like if you don't know yourself and you don't know your kind of normal behavior and you aren't like self-aware in that way, it's going to be a lot harder for you to identify, first of all, that you are experiencing something like burnout or creative block, and second of all, it's going to be really hard to figure out why and like what you need in order to kind of get through it. Because I think as much as some people are like, oh, just do a menial task or, you know, do other things for you, like I said earlier, sometimes for me, like taking a break and doing nothing, it doesn't work. Like sitting and watching TV is like not usually a thing that works for me. When I'm not quite at this stage, a thing I would normally do would be to go for a walk. And I know in a sense it would be good for me right now to go for a walk, but in another sense I would probably be constantly resisting the urge to cry because I'd be thinking about all the things that are stressing me out in a very, like it would be like an express route to like thinking about all the things. That's what walks are like for me sometimes, where because I've basically not given myself enough time to decompress, to quiet my mind, a walk is where all of those thoughts come flooding back in. And I think it's good to like think about the things that are bothering you and causing you issues. However, in these moments, bit too much all at once, opening the floodgates. Like we've gone too far. I've gone too far past the stage where going for a walk and thinking about things will bring me clarity and help me. I'm in the stage of going a walk is going to be like crippling anxiety and it's too much, you know? So I know for me, I need to kind of chip away at it a bit more. So instead of, you know, letting everything fall down on me all at once, I will do something that requires a lot of attention, that is like a physical break, and will naturally kind of release some of that stress and tension and get my brain to quiet. And then slowly I can work back into things. Okay, I'm back because it felt like too long with just music. I don't know. Sorry I lied earlier. Forgive me this minor fib. But I'm just going to chat a touch longer and just about this sketchbook page. Essentially, I just wanted to say, like, I went into this assignment, or this like forced break of drawing, with a pretty meh feeling. I was convinced a bit that I wasn't going to be able to get into it, and my thumb was already kind of hurting, so I just kind of was thinking like it wasn't going to work. But I am happy to say that I actually overall kind of like this page. I just felt like the drawings all turned out a bit better than I had expected. I'm not saying they're like, wow, this is the most amazing thing I've ever made in my life, but better than I expected. And mainly that's because, like, considering I haven't drawn more than maybe 5 pages in like 6 weeks, probably. Okay, I just fact checked myself. 4 barely full spreads, one of which is just me writing a little paragraph, since November the 5th. So yes, very light on the drawings. And before that was like maybe 5 birds I attempted in October for Birdtober. So yeah, I'm not in a drawing flow at the moment. So my expectations were pretty low. All that to say though, I was happy that I pushed myself a little bit, and that the spread didn't make me more miserable or upset, and that I ended up using it as a way to basically just chat to you guys and also make like this casual video, because everything else I have planned for videos feels like a bit more ambitious than I am currently capable of achieving. With my, like I said, with it being the holidays, kind of busy, my mental state is not at its peak, as this is just always the end of the year for me. But some of them require like a bit more scripting and writing, a bit more thought going into them, and this was just a nice, refreshing, surprising video to make, because I in truth was not thinking this was going to turn into anything. I figured the footage would be unusable, or that I would like just not like it enough and I would scrap it and toss it aside. It ended up being okay, which just felt like a win, which is really nice right now amidst this stressful season of life. Yeah, I'm glad I recorded it. I'm glad I decided to draw in the first place. It hasn't been heavy drawing lately. I think that maybe is part of what contributes to me feeling very scattered, unfocused, restless when I'm not drawing or creating or doing these things for myself. It just kind of reflects in everything else, and it trickles into everything else. So I'm glad that I did this, and I just wanted to say that. I hope that you all have a good holiday, and that you are able to take a break from any of the stressors of this crazy season. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!